Hello Year 1 and 2. This video today is all about performing poems. Now our work this week is all about poetry, and the year 1 and 2 teachers and I were all thinking about what things do we need to know in year 1 and 2 about poems. And one of the things that we need to know how to do is how to perform poetry. Now that might sound like you have got to stand on a stage in front of lots and lots of people and perform a poem. That's not what we're doing today. What we have got to think about doing is the things that we need to think about when we are reading a poem. So for example, if we were in school, I would read the poem to you, and there would be certain things that I would think about when I'm reading the poem. And then if somebody else came out to read a poem to the rest of you, they might read the same poem but in a completely different way, because they are thinking about the poem in a different way as well, and they are using their voice differently. So these are my top tips for thinking about performing poetry. We're really excited to see how you get on with this week. So it'd be really nice to see any videos or any pictures of you performing your poetry, or even if you want to let your friends know about some top tips for performing poetry, that would be great also. So some things that we need to think about when we're performing poems. The first most important thing is to actually read the poem first. So have a read through the poem, see if there's any words that you're not sure of, if there's any words that you are finding tricky to decode, or any unknown words that you've not seen before, and just talk about those with somebody and make sure that you know how to say the word before you perform the poem. Also think about the rhyme of the poem. If it's a rhyming poem, you might want to be saying the words in different ways, and you might want to just have a quick look through to see if you can spot where those rhyming words are. Another thing that you need to think about is your pace when you are reading a poem. So exactly in the same way when you're reading your reading books, is thinking about your pace, how fast or how slow you are reading. So if you've read the poem through and you think actually that would be quite nice to speed up on those words there, or it might be quite nice to slow down on these words here, just try out some different ways. So for example, these are my colours one by one, red the poppies where I run. Or I might want to say it a little bit slower. These are my colours, one by one. And in that way I'm performing it in totally different ways. So it's totally up to you how the poem makes you feel. The next thing you need to think about is your volume. So are you going to say certain words louder? Are you going to say certain words quieter? These are my colours, one by one. Red, the poppies, where I run. So by using my voice in a different volume, you can see how it makes a difference to how I perform the words. The next thing we need to think about is intonation. Now this might not be a word that you've heard before, but it's how you use the tone of your voice. So how we might focus on different words and how my voice rises and falls again. So for example, these are my colours, one by one. Red, the poppies, where I run. I'm using my voice and I'm going up on certain words and coming down on other words. So when you're practicing the poem before you perform it, you might want to just try out different ways and see how your voice works. Some of you might be quite surprised with actually how your voice is working and how you can make it do different things as you're going through. So the next thing we need to think about also is being really clear when you're saying your poem, okay? And this might be looking at the beats in the poem, so how many syllables there are, okay, in your lines, but also making sure that you're spotting the phonics in there as well, okay? And that will help you to be nice and clear, okay? So those are my top tips. I'm going to have a go at reading the poem. The poem this week comes from this book, and it's by this author, Julia Donaldson. Now, we have read lots and lots of books in year 1 and 2 by Julia Donaldson. She's a very famous author. See if you can try and think about any books that we have read or any stories we've read by Julia Donaldson. She also writes poetry as well. And she's put this book together called Poems to Perform, and it is a book of lots and lots of different poems for you to perform by different authors. So after this video, the other teachers have had a go at performing the same poem, so you can see how different people can perform the same poem in lots of different ways, and hopefully it will give you some tips as well. My Colours by Colin West. These are my colours, one by one. Red, the poppies where I run. Orange, summer's setting sun. Yellow, farmers' fields of corn. Green, the clover on my lawn. Blue, the sea where fishes spawn. Indigo, a starling's feather. Violet, the dancing heather. A rainbow they make all together.
My Colours by Colin West. These are my colours one by one. Red, the poppies where I run. Orange, summer's setting sun. Yellow, farmer's field of corn. Green, the clover on my lawn. Blue, the sea where fishes spawn. Indigo, a starling's feather. Violet, the dancing heather. A rainbow they make all together.
My Colours by Colin West. These are my colours one by one. Red, the poppies where I run. Orange, summer's setting sun. Yellow, farmers' fields of corn. Green, the clover on my lawn. Yellow, the sea where fishes spawn. Indigo, a starling's feather. Violet, the dancing heather. A rainbow they make all together.
My Colours by Colin West. These are my colours one by one. Red, the poppies where I run. Orange, summer's setting sun. Yellow, farmers' fields of corn. Green, the clover on my lawn. Blue, the sea where fishes spawn. Indigo, a starling's feather. Violet, the dancing heather. A rainbow they make all together.
My Colours by Colin West. These are my colours one by one. Red, the poppies where I run. Orange, summer's setting sun. Yellow, farmers' fields of corn. Green, the clover on my lawn. Blue, the sea where fishes spawn. Indigo, a starling's feather. Violet, the dancing heather. A rainbow they make all together.